So we already made a video going over Jim Rutherford and his big, bad press conference. But I wanted to save one of the bigger conversations from that conference itself and make a dedicated audio commentary to just that. Because when it comes to what Jim Rutherford admitted for the Vancouver Canucks, when it comes to what Rutherford said about former Canucks captain Quinn Hughes, this is where things really get disappointing. Let's go over into the bookmarks and read some of the quotes over here. Jim Rutherford delivered an incredibly harsh truth. Some people think Quinn Hughes left Vancouver because the team wasn't good, and I think he was leaving anyway. The best example I can give you is Matthew Tkachuk. He was in Calgary, they had a good team, and he left anyway. Quinn wanted to go back to the US, Rutherford continued. I'm close to Quinn. I really like him, and I respect what he did in Vancouver. The guys in the NHL, they work towards free agency, and we should respect the fact that he had that option, and that he was going to exercise that option. Top reply from Ian says if he was never going to stay, why even be captain? Did he really just lie when he said all those nice things about the city and the franchise? And Ian, I think the answer to that question is yes. NHL players, they lie all the time. Take a look at this over here. Rutherford also said, I had known for some time that Quinn was not staying. I knew before the season for that matter. It's one of the reasons we signed the Garlands, the Bessers, and the Demkos, hoping for a bit of a chance right to the end that he might decide to stay. Goodness gracious, so this is everything that we had assumed about the Vancouver Canucks being confirmed as the truth all at once. Vancouver didn't sign Garland, Besser, and Demko because they thought it was the best move forward for building their future. It's because they just wanted to give themselves one more chance, just in case Quinn Hughes decided to stay. Even though Rutherford said, yeah, I knew before the season, he's gonna leave. I'm gonna talk about Matthew Tkachuk, that guy. Doesn't matter how good the Calgary Flames were, he wanted to leave. Quinn Hughes, same thing. Funny part is, a lot of the replies, they're all coming from the same place. This press conference has been a disaster. Goodness gracious, Jim, stop talking. We signed Brock Garland and Demko in the hope Quinn would change his mind even though you knew he didn't want to stay? As a fan of a rival team, I'm like, gosh, stop talking. It's getting hard to watch now. Where's the owner? He just blew your money on middling players on a lark. Looks like we should have fired Rutherford today. Holy crap, this is a wild thing to admit. He gambled his team's future on a very slim chance of retaining Quinn. If he knew, then why didn't he just trade him? You screwed your team with the Besser and Demko contracts. Well, I'm not gonna lie. I don't think Vancouver really has much to pay for at this point. I guess you could say Zeev Buium, although that guy doesn't really know if he's gonna get an 8-year extension. Who really knows? But it's not like the Canucks are strapped for cap necessarily these days, so I don't really think it's the worst from a financial perspective. But just the practice of keeping guys around just because you want to try and retain this guy in Quinn Hughes, even though it's already been posted about, you already said that the guy was going to leave anyway, even if you tried to give yourselves that last-ditch effort. Rutherford admitting he knew Quinn Hughes wasn't staying, then extending Besser, Demko, and Garland as a last-ditch effort is indefensible. She already told you it was over, bro. You don't try to win her back through her friends. That's some pretty good life advice from Cam Robinson, and I think it also applies here. Don't try to guilt the guy into staying by saying, oh, we got all your friends, why wouldn't you want to come back? Even though Rutherford was already saying in 2024 he had this idea that Quinn was also interested in leaving, despite the fact that even as far as back then, the guy was already thinking about leaving. I don't understand the hate on the Besser and Demko contracts. If anything, I'd be ticked off about Lankin and getting 5 mil as a backup. Cam is just loving this. I've never seen someone hate on one team as him. Well, News for you, Stay Frosty. Cam Robinson is a Vancouver guy. He was covering Canucks stuff before he ended up working at Elite Prospects. So obviously there is a focus on the Canucks. Indefensible, he says. I'm not one to disagree. Jim Rutherford flat out admitted the Canucks signed Quinn Hughes' friends to long-term contracts to try to make him stay, which is wild just saying it outright. I take full responsibility for the season, said Rutherford. I head up the hockey department, but I don't make decisions for other people, and Patrick had the opportunity to make his own decisions. Bill Guerin has publicly said he called Patrick first about Quinn Hughes, and then was told to call Jim. That was from Michael Russo, Minnesota Wild beat reporter for The Athletic. Quinn was leaving anyway, that's why the Canucks signed Garland and Besser. Ay. So, with all that said, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this update that the Vancouver Canucks, in an effort to try and keep an asset that they knew at some point was going to leave, they made the trade for Marcus Pettersson, they signed all of Quinn's friends, they were like, hey, we really want you to stay, so we're just going to sign these guys. We're not signing these guys because they actually are the best fit for our team moving forward long term, but because we just want you to stay, man. We want our captain, our beloved captain, Huggy Bear, to stick around with this franchise, even though as far back as 2 years ago, he already thought that he was going to leave. The guy wanted to go to the U.S., and now we're looking at Winnipeg. Same thing's going on with Connor Hellebuck. Same thing's going on with Matthews in Toronto, Brady Tkachuk in Ottawa. What is with these American guys not wanting to stay in Canada, man? Like, I can't say that it's surprising at this point when you look at the dominoes that fell that resulted in this sort of a conundrum. You have the Tkachuks, you have the Gaudreaus, you had the Quinn Hugheses, those first three guys that set the standard a few years ago in the Calgary guys' case, and then Quinn a few months ago in his case. It seems like it's now opening up as a very distinct possibility for these top-tier American players that playing in Canada just doesn't have to be something they have to do. If they don't want to, they can just leave. And it's all anybody's right to go out there and leave, you know? I'm not going to say it's not within your right to hold out for free agency or try to demand a trade down south, but the fact that it's happening so often these days is a red flag, especially for these Canadian franchises that want to have superstars of all nations come over and play for their squads. Bo Horvat was a pretty good captain. Quinn Hughes? Absolutely not, dude. Absolutely not. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Jim Rutherford revealing that Quinn was the reason Vancouver signed those contracts with Besser and Demko. They tried to get an all-American squad together. And look, I'm not going to say every American that is playing in Canada is going to go through some sort of a return to the USA type of bout. But the really good ones that are seeing this happen to them over and over again, that's where it becomes quite concerning. Matthews and Brady Tkachuk, y'all have a chance to set the standard for the next generation. Let's see what happens. But with that said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Jim Rutherford speaking out on Quinn Hughes. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.